The CEO of Anthropic came out with a pretty concerning statement regarding AI. So, Anthropic is an artificial intelligence company that created Claude. So, that is like the the ChatGPT competitor. And he made some comments in an interview, which you can look up. I'm sure it's all over YouTube and news boards and all kinds of things. But essentially that he expects 10 to 20% of the entry-level jobs to disappear over the course of the next 1 to 5 years due to artificial intelligence. So that's pretty concerning because 10 to 20% is a huge number when you think of entry-level jobs. And to do it in 1 to 5 years is incredibly aggressive. I mean, 1 to 5 years is barely even a normal cycle in the corporate world. So we're talking about incredibly fast movement if he's correct. And it's somewhat concerning because it's not really in his best interest to make a statement like that. As a CEO of one of these companies, you don't want to stir up fear in the workforce. So that's what I want to talk about today is the rise of artificial intelligence. Should we be worried? Red flags to look for, and then I'll give some tips on how to stay ahead of the AI pursuit so that we can protect ourselves when it does start coming for jobs, even beyond entry-level jobs. So according to the CEO, he says that artificial intelligence from an understanding standpoint is about at the level of a college student now. So in years past, it might have been a high school student. Now we're at a college student, which is why he feels like entry-level jobs are going to be that first wave that it goes after, because that's kind of where the intelligence is at this point. So what that means for jobs is if you're in those entry-level jobs, so we're talking data entry, you're taking data from one source, you're processing it into another source, or you're taking information provided to you, so names, addresses, statements, whatever they are, and you're processing them into a system. If you're in that role, if you're in basic customer support, so if you look at a lot of these apps for these retail organizations, they already have AI assistants on there. So if you're handling basic customer support, if you're in a situation where you're writing content, and I don't mean just like YouTube content, that would also apply, but if you're writing job descriptions, if you're writing company policies, if you're writing communication documents that go out to clients or whatever it is, right? AI could come for those jobs as well. As in fact, where I work, AI is already being used for some of those things. I think the good thing for most of us is that there are things that we can look out for. You can see them in your own job today to know that AI is either coming for your job, or maybe you can look at these and say, you know what, actually, I think AI is a ways back. But then also I think there's things we can do. So first, I want to talk about the red flags. And I'm sure there are a lot of red flags, and if you know of other ones, put them in the comments for everybody else. But these are the 3 red flags that I see the most in my job and with other people that I've talked to. The first red flag is if you're incredibly reliant on AI today. So as I mentioned, where I've worked, industries I've worked in, HR in particular, you already have a lot of AI working on PowerPoint presentations, on communication information, policy writing, job description writing. AI is very efficient at those things. It can take a poorly written policy and make it sound great. So if you're in a job where you're already heavily reliant on AI, that's going to be a major red flag. So if you're using AI a lot today, then the odds are that AI can probably replace you pretty quickly unless you start finding other ways of doing work that doesn't require AI. And I think even where it won't replace you, it can impact you. So if you are a content creator, like YouTube, for instance, a lot of channels out there use AI for their scripts. They may have an AI video. Their thumbnails may be AI generated. And that's all good and well right now. But when YouTube gets flooded with these AI content things, people are going to want to see human beings talking about human being things. And it could impact your channel if you're heavily reliant on AI right now. The second red flag is this phrase, opportunities for automation. I've heard this my entire career, and in years past, I don't think it's been much of a fear because really it's just about being more efficient and effective in what you do. But I think now with the rise of AI, opportunities for automation may be opportunities to get rid of you. And so if your company's constantly asking you, hey, we need to look for opportunities to automate, probably not a good sign if you're able to fulfill a lot of opportunities. If they're asking you for opportunities to automate and you've got no answers for them, then maybe you're in a good spot. But if you think about your job and there's like 33 ways you can automate things, probably a red flag. Red flag number 3, and this is happening right now at a lot of places, is your company doing AI testing, especially in your department or in your job? So I know a lot of companies are signing contracts with these AI companies to start using their tool. They're getting user-based agreements. So a lot of these software systems that you use, your company pays those companies for the usage of the software, and they get certain amounts of user licenses. So if your company today is starting to get user license for these AI systems, especially if it's in an area that affects your job, that's a pretty good indicator that, one, your company thinks AI can help automate some things in that area, but it's also a good sign that AI may already be taking some of the responsibilities that you're supposed to be doing. And the thing to think about is that most job descriptions have between 10 to 15 responsibilities that they expect the employee to do. If AI comes in and takes away 5, maybe you don't need to make as much. If AI comes in and takes away 10, maybe you don't need a job at all. They can take your other 5 and give them to somebody else. So is AI testing in your area, and how successful is that testing going? So now that we know the red flags, I think the next question is, what can we do about it, if anything, to help protect our jobs or to put ourselves into a position or a job where we're not going to be impacted by AI as quickly? I think we'll all be impacted at some level, but I think there are ways to protect ourselves. So the first thing that we can do is plan instead of panic. So there's no sense panicking. We just got to get ourselves together, figure out what we need to do, and do that. And the way we plan is to learn these tools. And that may sound counterintuitive to learn something that's going to take your job, but you need to know how they work. There's a lot of us who are going to benefit from AI. So it won't be able to take our whole jobs, but it'll be able to make our jobs easier. You may be able to use it to leverage, right? So maybe your company's not on the front lines of AI, but you can use it to help yourself advance through your career. And if we know what it's capable of, we'll ultimately know what it's not capable of. And then those are the things that we need to try to get ourselves involved in. What is AI not capable of today? How can we get a job that works on those things? Number 2, and this is part of the red flag, is to eliminate your reliance on AI. So if you're content writing today, take note of what AI is doing to make your content better, and then start doing that on your own. Find ways to add things in that AI is not doing, and start eliminating your reliance on AI. That's not to say that you can just stop using AI if you're supposed to, but if you're someone in a spot today that you choose to use AI, and you're finding yourself using AI for most things, you may need to scale back. And it may not even help you with this job, but it might help you with the next job. So I know if I think about my kids today, when I'm helping them with math problems, there's a lot of times where it's a simple math problem, and I have to really think about how to answer it because I'm so used to having spreadsheets and cell phones with calculators that now to go back to not using any of that is sometimes difficult. If you give a teenager a map, a paper map, and tell them to go somewhere they've never been before, or even somewhere they have been before, they're going to struggle to find it because they're so used to GPS and all these other things. We can do the same thing with AI. If we get too used to using it, it's hard to quit it and then go on to something where we don't need AI. And we need to get ourselves to jobs where we don't need AI for everything. The third thing is to elevate ourselves up the value ladder. And value ladder is not a statement on your value, but rather the value a company is going to put on a job. The higher value a company puts on the job, the less likely they are to automate or to go with AI for that job because they're going to see that job as something that AI can't quite do. So these jobs are going to be jobs that require critical thinking, that require strategy, creativity, right? Conceptual things beyond what AI is currently doing. So I know, I'll give a personal example. You know, we have been testing AI, like I said, in HR for quite some time. And one of the things that AI is great at is it can compile data. It can tell you trends within that data. It can tell you all kinds of things about that data. It can offer up suggestions of what it might mean. But ultimately, taking that data, understanding what exactly it means, understanding how that ties back to your company's strategy, and then implementing possible solutions to solve what problems might be there, right? AI only goes halfway through that process. At a certain point, when it comes to strategy, critical thinking, and coming up with creative solutions, AI just can't quite get there. It will give you nonsensical solutions that don't really make sense. It'll misinterpret data. So I'm assuming it's going to get much better at those things. But right now, I know, hey, if you're in one of those more analytical, problem-solving jobs, you're probably a little safer than someone who's doing just basic data work. And then the fourth thing is to find humanity at work. And I know that sounds like nonsense and gobbledygook, but at the end of the day, AI is not a human. It doesn't have those same things. So we're talking leadership roles, we're talking mentorship, we're talking coaching. Those types of jobs are probably going to be somewhat safe, because even if AI can tell you, here's a good workout plan, it's not going to mean as much to clients as if it comes from a human being. Same thing with leaders. A lot of times leaders, what are they? Just figureheads a lot of times, but you need a human being in that role, right? The best leaders aren't even the smartest people. They're the people who can get the buy-in. So anything that you can do to find those jobs that rely heavily on humanity, right? Heavily on a human being doing it, then that might be the way to go, right? So maybe a call center is not a great example. You're answering simple questions. A lot of these retail companies, they already have AI that works as the call center, right? So if you ever go and you get this automated voice message, or you get the little chat pop up, right? Probably AI. But there are certain levels of client interaction where, no, you need a human being to do that, right? We're thinking sales, insurance sales, financial advising, all of these things. Most people aren't going to take financial advice from ChatGPT. They're going to want a human being to do it. So can we find jobs where humanity is important and work our way into those jobs? I think at the end of the day, really, I think of it as, God is in control. And I think AI is going to help a lot of people out. I think it's going to also hurt a lot of people. But I think in the meantime, while we don't know how that's going to work, I think we just need to stay calm, plan and prepare, get yourself into a job where AI can't take it over. And the only way we can do that is if we understand AI, we understand our jobs, and we understand how they work together. So I think if you look out for the 3 red flags I mentioned, you do the 4 things that I mentioned, get yourself into a good position, hopefully it'll be a while before AI gets to you, and then you just keep repeating that cycle, right? Every however many years. I don't know how quickly it will grow, but just keep repeating that. Keep looking for the red flags. Keep looking for better jobs, and hopefully we'll be okay. So I hope this video helped, and if you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.